A very warm welcome in the class of Mathematics 3. Today our topic is having some variety of number theory problems and the related discussions. Myself Rupak Bhattacharjee, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, JIS College of Engineering. I think this is going to be the most important, and if I am able to make it so, it will be the interesting one. But as it is going to have some applications and problems of number theory, it requires almost the syllabus what I had covered in the last classes. That is, it requires well ordering principle, it requires division algorithm, it requires Euclidean algorithm, and it requires fundamental theorem of arithmetic. All these. So without further delay, let us jump into the problems. First one is the last problem given in the last class's assignment. I feel that I must discuss it in your class so that we can have some idea on these types of problems. The question was, we have to consider three positive integers x, y and z satisfying the following equations: 28x plus 30y plus 31z is equal to 365. Our target is to find out the value of x plus y plus z. Now, if you know nothing in number theory, but if you have very good common sense, then in that informal way, what you can do? If you look at these numbers 28, 30 and 31, these are nothing but the days in the month available in a year, and this is 365, that means the total number of days available. Look at this, February is having 28 days. There are 4 months in the year, that is with 30 days, and there are 7 months consisting 31 days. So if you think about putting x equal to 1, y equal to 4 and z equal to 37, z equal to 7, then you will get this is satisfied, that is 365 is coming. And without doing anything, just by your simple, complete, beautiful observation, you can get these values of x plus y plus z by putting the values 1, 4 and 7, and you will get it is 12. You may have a question that is it possible for all the problems? Is there any general technique, or is there some other techniques to find it out? So let us check for that one. But before going into that, we can find another positive integer solutions or not for this, and we can have a trial and error method which gives us that as well as this 147 is also capable, this 219 is also capable, but ultimately the summation is 12. Now look at this, 7 is going to 9, means 31 is going to be 9 times, that means 2 times extra, so 2 days are extra. Then 30 is reduced to 1 from 4, that means you are reducing 3 days here, and 28 is increased to 2, that means you are increasing 1 day here. So ultimately you are making the balancing in the summation, but the values of x and y and z are different, though x plus y plus z are same. Now can we have that alternative process? So look at this, this was our problem and we are now approaching in different manner. So 28 into x plus y plus z means from 28x plus 30y plus 31z, we are taking the least possible number over here, that is 28. So it will be x plus y plus z plus 2y plus 3z. This 2y 3z is taken in the right hand side, so it is written as 365 minus 2y minus 3z. Now as these x, y, z are all positive integers, so the value of y, z and x, it will always be greater than or equal to 1. So here if we put the least possible values of y and z, that is 1 and 1, we can put it here, and as y and z can take the values more than 1 but not less than 1, so we are putting it, we are getting this left hand side is less than equal to 365 minus 2 into 1 minus 3 into 1, because if y and z is growing bigger, this 365 minus 2y minus 3z will be becoming lesser. So this is going to be the equation as 28 into x plus y plus z is less than equal to 360. Is it clear? Now in the same manner, if I give you some time to ponder on the next step, we will obviously identify that as we have already established some relationship on this, if we can establish some relationship on this, then we will get some intermediate value through which, by putting the property of positive integer, we can or rather we may reach to a particular decision. So let us check. From this calculation we can write x plus y plus z is less than equal to 360 by 28, and which gives us 12 point something. In the similar manner, if we take 31 x plus y plus z, means we are taking extra 1y and we are taking extra 3x. So it can be written as this particular thing will be substituted by this right hand side and it will be added, and if it is added then obviously 360 it will be greater than this one, so 31 the x plus y plus z will be greater than equal to 365 plus 3 into 1 plus 1, because this 1 and 1 with the same logic of this one, and if the values of y and z is growing bigger, then it will be growing bigger and so on. So 31 x plus y plus z will be having greater than equal to value 369, means it is the least possible value what it can have, and it is the highest possible value it can have. So from this, with the similar pattern, we can write x plus y plus z is greater than equal to 11 point something. So if you write suppose x plus y plus z, which is in this manner, that means it is greater than 11 point something, and uh, which is less than 12 point something and which is greater than 11 point something, or just you can make it reversed by putting x plus y plus z is like this manner, then it is greater than 11 point something and it is less than 12 point something, and as all of them are positive integers, this value will be 12. So look at this, our approach may be different but we are reaching to the same conclusion. Now we are going to discuss a very important, or rather a very interesting thing called postal numbers. So first of all, our target is to define that by postal number what we are trying to say. The definition of postal number here we are placing in this form, that a positive integer n is a postal number if we make n plus 8 rupee postage from a bunch means infinite collection of 3 and 5 rupee stamps. So the story is, we have infinite number of 3 rupee stamps and 5 rupee stamps. Our target is to check the numbers which we call as postal number, if and only if we can represent it by n plus 8 form. So before going into any further discussion, let us check something. If we take n equal to 0, then 0 plus 8, it can be written as 5 plus 3, that means a combination of 5 and 3. So 0 is a postal number. Clear? Now if we take n equal to 1, then 1 plus 8, that means 9, that means we can write 3 into 3, that means 3 rupee postage. So it can be represented. You can write it 0 into 5 plus 3 into 3. If you take n equal to 2, so it will be 2 plus 8 is our under checking, so 10, and 10 can be written as 5 plus 5. So in this way, in your home you can try for other numbers, but ultimately what is postal number, I think I can make it clear. Now the mathematical problem is that we have a claim. What is our claim? Our claim is every positive integer is a postal number. This is our claim. Means if you take any n, then you can write n plus 8 and you can write it by 5u plus 3v. I don't know is it possible for us or not, but it is our claim. So either it will be true or it will be false, but it is very much clear that we can't make it by putting the values of n equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. It is not possible. We have to make some generalized logic. So this means actually if we construct a set A which contains M and M is not a postal number, means if we are constructing a set which contains only those numbers which are not a postal number. So this claim is it must be equal to 5, because if every positive integer is a postal number, then there will be no number which is not a postal number, so the set will be a equal to 5. Is it clear? But what we are doing, we are assuming a is not equal to 5. Please try to understand, it is our assumption. So if after a certain step my assumption is consistent, then my claim is wrong, and if my assumption is inconsistent, then my claim is right. That means by the use of method of contradiction, we are trying to approach this problem. Clear? So first of all, we can check that 0, 1, 2, they all are postal numbers because we can have the representations of them by this structure already verified. So they will never go to capital A set. So if capital A is containing the numbers which are not postal numbers, then every element of A must be greater than or equal to 3. because 0 will not be there, 1 will not be there, 2 will not be there, and a is a subset of n, means set of natural numbers. So every element will be greater than 3. Now if we are assuming this a, which is nothing but a subset of n, n means set of natural numbers, here we are using the property of well ordering principle. This gives us that it must have a least element, as it is a subset of n. Then well ordering principle tells us that the set A must have a least element. We are assuming that this is, suppose K. So K belongs to A. K is the least positive or least element of A, and obviously K is not a postal number. That is why K is in A. So these are in our hand. Now let us check what conclusion we can make. As K is in A, so K must be greater than equal to 3, because least every element of A is greater than equal to 3. So K must be greater than equal to 3. From this we can write K minus 3 greater than equal to 0, and K minus 3 must be less than K, because K is a positive integer which belongs to set A, means the subset of capital N. So together with what we can write, that 0 less than equal to K minus 3 less than K. Is it clear? You can make a pause and think. It is very much obvious. Now K being the least element of A, as K is the least element of A, then K minus 3 must not be in A, because K is the least element. K minus 3 is less than K. Then how can K minus 3 will be in A? So K minus 3 must not be in A. It implies that K minus 3 is a postal number. Yes or no? Because if it is not a postal number, it must be in A. But the logic is here that K minus 3 can't be in A. So K minus 3 must be a postal number. So if K minus 3 is a postal number, then we can write K minus 3 is also in the form of 5u plus 3v, and now purely mathematical steps are coming. K is equal to 5u plus 3v minus plus 3, so is equal to 5u plus 3 into v plus 1, that is 5u plus 3v dash, means K is also representable in the combination of 5 and 3, which implies K is a postal number, because it can be represented in terms of 5 and 3. Question is, this leads to us a contradiction. What contradiction? That K is taken as the least element of A, where A is the collection of all non-postal numbers, but here K is a postal number. So what we see, that our assumption that A is not equal to 5 is wrong. So obviously A is equal to 5, and A is equal to 5 means you can't get any number which is not a postal number. Our proof is done. So our proof is done. But from the analytic part, we do have some questions to you. Instead of 0, 1 and 2, one student can take n equal to 4 also, because 4 plus 8 is equal to 12. We can write it that 3 into 4 plus 0 into 5. So 4 is also a postal number. So for him or her, the calculation will start from K minus 4. And in the last problem we have done what is in terms of K minus 3, the same calculation will be for K minus 4. And think about the problem that if you are thinking for K minus 4, how you are going to represent k in terms of u and v with 5 and 3. It is one of my question. And another one question I want to raise, that if you are taking 5 and 3 and if you are constructing one table like this, so when n is 0, the value of 5 and 3 is 1 and 1. Already we have done. When n is 1, then value of this one is 5 and 3. So when n is 1, that means 1 plus 8, you got it 9. That means 3 into 3, so 0 into 3. Then when n is 2, then it is 2, it is 0. When n is 3, that means 3 plus 8 means 11. You are getting it is 1 and 2, 6 plus 5. When n is 4, what you are getting it is 0 and 4. And you can write some more numbers. You can write some coefficients of 5. You can write some coefficients of 3. My question is that, is it possible for you to find out any pattern? Maybe I am not mentioning any assignment in this class, but these are very important job what you have to do for boosting up your analytical mind. So let us proceed further. We are now going to face one problem. You will not have any clue that from where these types of problems are coming and how to find it out, how to find out the solution. Because look at this, this is not a very simple problem, but it is a simple problem obviously after some time, after 5 minutes. 1 factorial, 2 factorial, in this way if you go on, plus 50 factorial, it is a big number. Not only that, it is not possible for you to find out what the number is by your manual calculation. And the question is, if you divide this number by 15, what remainder you are going to get? So obviously you are not going to count the number, you are not going to divide it by 15, and you are not going to find out what will be the remainder in the straightforward manner. There lies the beauty of mathematics. So look at this, what you have to do, your job is to think it in some different manner, that how we can approach this problem. The thing is something like that. If we think for 5 factorial, 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, 15. So 5 factorial, if we divide 5 factorial by 15, it will be 0 because it is divisible. So 6 factorial is 5 factorial into 6, divisible. 7 factorial, 5 factorial into 7 into 6, divisible. 50 factorial, 5 factorial into something, divisible. Look at this, if you are thinking in some different manner, you got it that from 5 factorial plus dot 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 plus 50 factorial, as all numbers are divisible by 15, their summation will also be divisible by 15, so remainder is 0. So the remainder will be there for the calculation of 1 factorial plus 2 factorial plus 3 factorial plus 4 factorial, just simply this. And it is very easy to calculate that 1 factorial plus 2 factorial plus 3 factorial plus 4 factorial is nothing but 33. So if you divide 33 by 15, the remainder what you are going to get is 3. So the answer of this problem is nothing but 33 is congruent modulo 3 mod 15. So this thing will also give you 3. Very interesting. Proceeding further, oh my god, you have to prove that 19 to the power 20 is congruent to 1 mod 181. This means if you divide 181, you are dividing these, you are trying to perform this process. After doing all these things, you will get hit 1. Or you can think it in another manner. 19 to the power 20 minus 1 is divisible by 181. But how you are going to find out 19 to the power 20? Then the question of division is coming. So this is nothing but modulo. This will help us a lot. Look at this. We are going to give you one information that if A congruent B mod C, then A to the power n is also congruent to B to the power n mod C. Means if you are dividing A minus B by C and if it is divisible, then A to the power n minus B to the power n is also divisible by C for all positive integer n. Now how we are going to make use of this one? So let us start not by looking at this big number. We are starting by 19 square first, and 19 square is congruent to minus 1 mod 181. You can do it. You will calculate this one. You will get this. 19 square plus 1 is nothing but divisible by 181. So 19 square is congruent to minus 1 mod 181. Once you get this, you are using the first property, and you can write it that by raising it power up to 19 to the power 2 to the power 10, that is 19 to the power 20 will be congruent to minus 1 to the power 10 mod 181, which will give you that 19 to the power 20 is congruent to 1 mod 181. How many lines you are using? 2 lines or 3 lines to prove this problem. If you know, you can do. If you don't know, it is tough for you to do this thing. Next, before concluding the class, I just want to share some view of divisibility, and this will be actually in your childhood days. You have some rules that how to divide a number by 2, how to identify whether a number is divisible by 3, 5 and so on. And obviously you are thinking for primes, so in this manner it will be 7 will be coming, 11 will be coming, 13 will be coming and so on. So there are various rules. You can just search. 2 is very easy. Just you are going to check whether it is even or not, means you are trying to identify the last digit is divisible by 2 or not. In case of 3, the summation of all the digits in that number is divisible by 3 or not. In case of 5, you are checking the last digit of that number is 0 or 5 or not. But for the other cases, there are some differences. So basically, you have to think for, I am giving it for your food of assignment. Just I am giving you that a number, it can be represented as am is a coefficient of 10 to the power m plus am minus 1 10 to the power m minus 1 plus dot 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 plus a2 10 square plus a1 10 plus a0. It is nothing but the binary representation. Obviously here all the values of ak, that means the coefficients, will be within this, where k runs from 0 to 9. So what we can say, that 0 to m, because it is represented up to m. Now what we can say, you can take any number 123, you can write 1 into 10 square plus 2 into 10 to the power 1 plus 3 into 10 to the power 0. So the a0, a1, a2, clear? 1. Okay, so now the question is, in this generalized representation we need to emphasize on 2 sums. First sum is s, which is nothing but a0 plus a1 plus dot 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 plus am, and another sum is t, which is nothing but a0 minus a1 plus a2 minus this plus minus 1 whole to the power m a m means alternating sum. So in this case I am going to show you for the problem of 2, 3, 5 and others, but there is a beauty in the case of 7, 11 and 13 because they need some different representation, not by 10, they need the representation by 1000. So this is another way of representing the numbers, but this s and t has to be calculated, and depending on the s and t you will get some conditions for which the divisibility can be identified. Okay, so I am giving these two things as your assignment. Please try to find out the process and do the calculations, because it is not only important for this class but also it is important for your campusing, your competitive examinations, and ultimately the pleasure in mathematics. So I'm not going to make any more discussions. These are the references what I have used, and finally I want to thank you all for completing this particular part of number theory in MCSE 301. So thanks a lot, happy listening, happy learning.